Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
They get there eventually, but it's just too late to do any good for
They
anyone.
should take the priesthood away from him for that.
Yeah, no, he should be cast out.
He is no longer a priesthood holder.
Oh,
Yeah.
He is not.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's too much cringe. Only blood atonement can answer for that kind of cringe.
They should exile him to Mexico.
Yes,
He should have to
give him
live
the
with one of
Romneys.
those evil families.
Yeah,
Well, actually, speaking of other based populists, I wanted to just check in real quick on the teal-backed candidates in this midterm.
yes,
we got
the
JD
radical
Vance and Blake
the
Masters.
post-liberal wave that's about to
And, like,
crest
the
here.
thing is, like, JD Vance is down by a couple points, but I think he may still win. I mean,
He could
it's
win.
probably,
That's
yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
like,
say that's
it's
a
just-
coin
Ohio.
toss.
that's a good.
Ohio's a coin toss no matter what.
However, Blake Masters is
getting
down by
destroyed.
13 points to the astronaut guy.
No, the thing is that Arizona is essentially it is a cycle or two behind Virginia in terms of turning blue. He's fucked.
He's cooked, and it's-
Honestly, Christian Cinema is going to get defeated in a primary probably in that fucking state at this point.
Well, I mean, like, so Mark Kelly was an astronaut, and Blake Masters. I was under the impression, I just assumed that Blake Masters was like a venture capitalist or
Yeah,
something like
me
that.
too.
No, he spent his entire adult life, his entire professional life before this point, writing essays about how nice Peter Thiel was.
Yes.
He is
What
a
fucking
literal
loser.
He is a literal courtier.
He's like I feel like
guy-
I
so the
was
guy-
shocked to find this out too. I like 'cause he wrote a book called 0 to 1. That's like the gospel of startups with Peter Thiel, and I'd assumed that like he had been a startup entrepreneur guy, but no, like he got his start. This is true. He got his start. He took Peter Thiel's class at Stanford, and then started publishing the notes he took during Peter Thiel's lecture on a blog spot. And then he became the official courtier, the official kind of like court scribe of Peter Thiel. And yeah, like now he's running for Senate. And I thought he was a business
I mean,
genius.
it's very fitting because like this whole Teal project is this fantasy LARPing neo-feudal concept where we're going to bring back aristocracy, but like affirmed by the algorithm instead of a Christian God. But that does mean you get a situation where the guy running as the salt of the earth populist in Arizona is the modern day equivalent of a dude wearing a white face paint with a fucking beauty mark and a giant frilly outfit, pantaloons, and a big powdered wig, and sitting there with a glass of sherry talking about the king's mistress all day. That's him. That's his job. He's a fancy lad. He's a professional flatterer.
I'm sort of like surprised by this stuff because I thought the based populism of JD Vance and the Peter Thiel and company, JD Vance, Blake Masters. I thought that like they were kind of attuned to the frequency of the vibe shift, which is a little bit weird and a little bit gay. And the problem is, though, I think it's coming out that both of them are a little too weird and a little too gay.
It's true. They're ahead of the curve. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with the Tea Party. And you could argue that in the long run, it's a sacrifice you make, is that you create this social dynamic that creates a push of like new candidates into the system. And some of them are going to be too far ahead of their skis for the moment. Like Republicans cost themselves the midterms or the Senate in 2020 or 2010 because of that. People who were too much for their areas, like Christine O'Donnell. And I think this new, whatever formation they're doing, if its ability to like influence candidates because of its ability to influence the internet and Trump specifically, is in the same situation where you've got people who are just too, it's too early. Maybe it never happens. And I honestly kind of think this is a mirage in a way that the Tea Party wasn't, because it just can't. I don't see it materializing outside of the internet, and at some point it kind of has to. But who knows? We'll see.
I did also like the other moment from the other week where Trump endorsed Eric in Missouri,
That was
and Eric won.
Wow.
It was the guy who won was not the alleged.
Did not win.
Okay.
Oh wow, I'm honestly a little surprised by that.
I was very surprised that the most evil guy they could find didn't win.
thought
I
that
was
like, a good
legitimately.
rubric. And I think honestly the fact that I think what Greitens was banking on that Trump endorsement at the end, and then when he split it was done for him. But of course he groveled afterwards and thanked him anyway.
Yeah. So the based populist thing, it's hard for me to see it as anything but like college graduate Republicans
Yep.
who are embarrassed by being part of the
Correct.
hamburger guys movement.
Yep.
That's what all this
Exactly.
DeSantis shit is.
Yep, it is.
DeSantis is like not really a national figure, but all these guys are embarrassed about being part of the Trump thing.
Yep, because they have intellectual pretensions.
Yeah, no, it's the same reason that like slightly younger people who weren't like quite ready to be Bernie people were Warren voters.
Yep.
It's the same thing. They're embarrassed by being like, Slay Hillary or fucking Mark Warner people. We know Obama like fucked up. He fucked up. He didn't do these things on purpose. We need something looking forward. That's Elizabeth Warren. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
It is a completely marginal constituency.
Yep.
And it will never get play outside the fucking internet except in a few.
Yeah, because yes, it's a fully self-contained demographic of people who, by their definition, can never become fully influential, because it's this fragment of college-educated Republicans who are like wired into politics at the intellectual level, and just like with Democrats, that's always going to be a very small, self-flattering group, disproportionately influential in media meta discourse, but fundamentally incapable of like reaching any critical mass of voters.
If there's some surge of fucking youth reaction, why does church attendance drop like 10 points every 5 years?
Yeah.
How come it doesn't go up ever?
Yeah.
How come Catholic and church attendance just fucking plummets and plummets and plummets?
Yeah.
No, it's literally that like there's a guy who like, wants there to be a monarchy, and he saw a bunch of groypers.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, there's a surge of youth reaction.
What matters is that you've got a rich guy willing to fund a scene, and that's it. Like money is the center of gravity that everything revolves around. That's where the light of the media is reflected by concentrations of capital moving around, and like giving it to people who are going to have parties that people can attend and write about and produce products and just have a rolling occasions gives you a pseudo reality of a community.
See, the thing I think the thing that's crucial to understand is there are elves and there are hobbits.
That's true.
But
Yes.
among the elves, there are two kinds of elves. There are high elves, and then, buddy, there's some dark elves.
And every time the high elves want to have a good time, those dark ass elves come in and ruin it for everybody.
The dark elves have got to go. Grand Shire opening, Grand Shire closing. All right, well, for the reading series for today, let's talk about The Office. Let's talk about The Office, the TV show. Let's talk about The Office as a kind of fading relic of a dying culture in America, office culture. I bring this up because, I don't know if you saw this earlier this week, one of my favorite authors, Malcolm Gladwell, he recently came out and said that, work from home is essentially killing American society, and it's reducing your life to kind of like meaninglessness, and you don't feel part of a team anymore. You don't feel like you're contributing to anything anymore, which, I can imagine sort of like, going to an office, like if feeling a part of something, feeling like you're working for other people, I think is important in some way to having a meaningful life. Most office jobs, even if you're in an office, certainly don't feel that way. And, if Malcolm Gladwell had a 2-hour commute to work, to and from work every day, I don't think he'd be thinking about this. And also, was it a Chewy Dog also pointed out he was the one defending Jeffrey Toobin for jacking off on a Zoom call. So, I mean, he's like, please jack off in the office bathroom. That's what who they're for.
I feel like we never got to the bottom of that fully. Like, did he think the call had ended?
I think he did. That's
No,
what
I think he was
said
just
anyway.
bored.
That's interesting.
See,
Do you think that's his?
I think he had a billion tabs open, and one of them was the Zoom call, and like David Remnick was droning on, and the other one was like, like Brazzers.
There's chocolate and strawberry.